Your body remembers that your mind has tried to forget. A moment frozen in time that still wakes you at 3 a.m. with your heart racing, and you don't even know why. Tonight, we're not going to revisit that moment. We're going to release it. Without remembering, without reliving, without reopening old wounds. Just letting it dissolve like salt in warm water until all that remains is peace. Close your eyes and let's begin.
Chapter 1. The shock your body never forgot. You know that feeling when something suddenly shifts and your whole world tilts, even though nothing visible has changed? Fact 1. The human nervous system can store emotional shock in the body for decades. Neurobiologists call this somatic memory, where trauma lives in tissues, not just thoughts. That's what unresolved emotional shock feels like. It's the earthquake your body felt, but your mind never fully processed. Maybe it was the moment someone left. Maybe it was hearing news you weren't ready for. Maybe it was realizing something would never be the same. Fact 2. When emotional shock occurs, the amygdala, your brain's alarm system, fires so intensely that it can bypass normal memory processing, creating fragmented memories that feel frozen in time. And here's what nobody tells you. Your body doesn't care that it happened 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20. To your nervous system, that shock is still happening, right now, in this very moment. Fact 3. Studies show that unresolved emotional trauma creates chronic activation in the sympathetic nervous system, keeping your body in a perpetual state of high alert even during sleep. That's why you wake up at night with racing thoughts. That's why your chest feels tight for no reason. That's why you can't quite relax, even when everything around you is safe. Your body is still braced for an impact that already happened. And the exhausting part? You might not even consciously remember what shocked you. Fact 4. Neuroscientist Dr. Bessel van der Kolk discovered that traumatic memories are often stored without a timestamp, causing the body to react as if past threats are present dangers. But your body remembers. Oh, your body remembers. It remembers in the tightness of your jaw, in the way your shoulders never fully drop, in how you startle at sudden sounds. It remembers in your inability to fully trust, in the way you scan rooms for exits, in how hard it is to let your guard down. Fact 5. The polyvagal theory, developed by Dr. Stephen Porges, explains that emotional shock can dysregulate the vagus nerve, disrupting the body's ability to return to a calm baseline state. Now, here's what we're going to do tonight. That's different from everything else you've tried. We're not going to talk about what happened. We're not going to analyze it. We're not going to work through it. Because here's the truth. Your body doesn't need to remember the story. It just needs permission to release the sensation. Fact 6. Somatic therapies work on the principle that trauma resolution happens through body sensation, not cognitive processing. The body can heal without the mind reliving. Think of it like this. Your body has been holding a clenched fist for years, and tonight, We're just going to teach it how to open slowly, safely, without force. No pushing, no forcing, no getting over it, just gentle, gradual release. Fact 7. Research published in the Journal of Traumatic Stress found that body-based release techniques can reduce PTSD symptoms by up to 60% without explicit memory processing. Let's start with something simple. Notice right now, as you lie here, that your body is holding something, somewhere. Maybe it's your stomach, maybe it's your throat, maybe it's that space between your shoulder blades. That tightness, that tension, that heaviness, it has a story, but tonight, it doesn't need to tell it. Fact 8. The fascia, connective tissue throughout your body, can store emotional memory, which is why massage therapists often report clients crying during bodywork without knowing why. It just needs to know that it can finally let go. Because the threat is over, the shock has passed, and your body deserves to know that. Fact 9. A study at Harvard Medical School found that chronic muscle tension from emotional trauma can disrupt sleep architecture, causing frequent awakenings during REM cycles. So tonight, we're sending a message from your conscious mind to every cell in your body. The message is simple. You survived. It's over. You can rest now. Fact 10. Neuroscientific research shows that verbal affirmations combined with body awareness can actually rewire neural pathways, creating new patterns of safety signaling in the brain. And we're going to repeat that message in different ways throughout this journey until your body finally believes it. Chapter 2. Why nighttime brings it all back. Have you noticed how everything feels heavier at 2 a.m.? Fact 1. Between 2 to 4 a.m., cortisol levels naturally drop to their lowest point, removing the chemical armor that helps you cope during the day, making suppressed emotions surface. How the shock you can ignore during the day comes flooding back the moment the lights go out. There's a reason for that. During the day, you're distracted, busy, moving, doing, coping. Fact 2. Neuroscientists have found that daytime activity keeps the prefrontal cortex engaged, which helps suppress limbic system activation. Essentially, staying busy keeps trauma responses at bay. But at night, when everything goes quiet, when there's nothing left to do, nowhere left to run, no more distractions to hide behind, that's when your body finally speaks. And what it says is, remember that thing you never dealt with? It's still he. Fact 3. Sleep researchers discovered that the transition from waking to sleeping activates the default mode network in the brain, which processes unresolved emotional material. Your racing thoughts at night? They're not random. They're your body's way of trying to process what you haven't processed yet. Your sudden awakenings? They're not insomnia. They're shock responses. Your body jolting back into protection mode. Fact 4. Studies show that people with unresolved trauma have 3 to 5 times more nighttime awakenings than those without, often occurring during REM sleep when emotional processing happens. And here's the part that feels so unfair. You're exhausted. You desperately want to sleep, but your body won't let you. Why? Because some part of you, some ancient, protective part, still believes that staying alert, keeping watch, not letting your guard down, is what keeps you safe. Fact 5. The evolutionary biology of trauma response shows that the amygdala interprets rest as vulnerability, which is why traumatized nervous systems resist sleep. It's like having a smoke alarm that keeps going off long after the fire has been put out. Your body is doing its job. It's trying to protect you from something that area. Why happened. Fact 6. Dr. Peter Levine's research on trauma shows that incomplete fight-flight-freeze responses remain active in the nervous system until they're completed somatically. But tonight, we're going to update that alarm system. We're going to teach your body the difference between then and now, between danger and safety, between shock and peace. Fact 7. Neuroplasticity research confirms that the brain can form new safety associations at any age, effectively rewiring trauma responses through repeated safe experiences. And we're going to do it without making you go back, without making you remember, without making you relive. Just gentle, gradual release. Like ice melting, like tension dissolving, like FINA. LLY, exhaling. Fact 8. The Institute of Heart Math found that coherent breathing patterns can shift the autonomic nervous system from sympathetic, stress, to parasympathetic, rest, dominance in as little as 3 to 5 minutes. Right now, your body is listening, and every word it hears is creating a new pathway, a pathway back to safety. Every breath you take is telling your nervous system, we're okay, we made it, we can rest now. Fact 9. Research in psychoneuroimmunology shows that verbal cues during relaxed states can directly influence immune function and stress hormone regulation. And with each moment that passes, as you lie here, safe, supported, breathing, your body is gathering evidence that challenges the old story. The old story that said, never let your guard down. The new evidence says, you're safe enough to rest. Fact 10. A landmark study in the Journal of Clinical Psychology found that present moment safety experiences, repeated over time, can override HIST. Orical trauma responses. Chapter 3. The shock that lives in your chest. There's a tightness, isn't there, right in the center of your chest? Fact 1. The chest area houses the cardiac plexus, a dense network of nerves that stores emotional memory, which is why heartbreak and shock are literally felt in the heart region. Some people call it heartache, some call it a weight, some just know it as that feeling of something unfinished. That's where shock often lives. Right there, in your heart space, where the news first hit, where the loss first landed, where the betrayal first stung. Fact 2. Cardiologists have identified stress cardiomyopathy, or broken heart syndrome, a condition where emotional shock can temporarily weaken heart muscle function. And if you're honest, if you really pay attention, you can still feel it, can't you? That heaviness, that pressure, that invisible weight. HT. It's been there so long, you've almost forgotten what it feels like to breathe without it. Fact 3. Respiratory therapists note that chronic chest tension from emotional trauma can reduce lung capacity by 20 to 30%, leading to shallow breathing patterns that perpetuate anxiety. You've learned to live with it, to function around it, to pretend it's not there. But at night, when you lie down and everything gets quiet, that's when you feel it most. That pressure, that tightness, that sense that something is sitting on your chest. Fact 4. Sleep position studies show that lying down increases interoceptive awareness, the brain's perception of internal body states, making suppressed sensations more noticeable. And sometimes, it makes you sit up, just to breathe, just to feel less. Trapped. Now, I want you to try something, but gently. Hook 45. Place your hand on your chest, right over your heart. Feel the warmth of your palm, feel the rise and fall, feel your body, breathing, living, surviving. Fact 5. The practice of cardiac coherence, placing attention on the heart while breathing, has been shown to reduce stress markers by 23% in just 5 minutes. This tightness, this weight, it came from a moment when your heart needed to protect itself. Maybe it was betrayal, maybe it was abandonment, maybe it was loss, maybe it was shame. Fact 6. Emotional shock triggers the release of stress hormones that cause physical constriction in chest muscles and fascia, creating lasting tension patterns. Whatever it was, your body responded by closing, by tightening, by armoring. Because open hearts can be hurt. And your heart decided it wasn't going to let that happen again. Fact 7. Attachment theory research shows that emotional shock in relationships can create lasting changes in how the heart rate variability responds to intimate connections. But here's what your heart needs to know now. That closing, that tightening, that protection, it served you then. But now, it's keeping out not just pain, but also peace, not just hurt, but also healing. Fact 8. Studies in somatic psychology demonstrate that chronic chest armoring prevents full emotional expression and blocks the natural completion of stress cycles. Tonight, we're not going to force your heart open. We're just going to invite it to soften just a little. Just enough to let the old shock start to dissolve. Fact 9. Research in emotion regulation shows that gentle, permission-based approaches to releasing trauma are 3x more effective than forced exposure methods. Imagine, for a moment, that the tightness in your chest is like ice, and your breath is warm air. With each exhale, the ice melts, just slightly, just gradually. Fact 10. Breathing exercises that emphasize long exhalations activate the vagus nerve, which directly signals the heart to slow down and the chest muscles to release. You don't have to force it. You don't have to try. Just breathe and notice. Notice if there's even the small tiniest shift. Chapter 4. The thoughts that won't stop racing. It's 3 a.m. and your mind is spinning, replaying, analyzing, catastrophizing. Fact 1. Nighttime rumination activates the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the same brain region involved in problem solving, which is why racing thoughts feel so compelling and important. Going over the same conversations, the same scenarios, the same what-ifs, over and over and over. This is what unresolved shock does. It turns your mind into a courtroom where you're simultaneously the accused, the prosecutor, and the witness. Fact 2. Cognitive neuroscience research shows that trauma creates repetitive thought loops as the brain attempts to solve what cannot be changed, seeking closure that may never come. Replaying what you should have said, what you should have done, how you could have prevented it. But here's the cruel truth: no amount of thinking can change what already happened. Fact 3. Studies on perseverative thinking show that rumination actually strengthens neural pathways of distress, making the thoughts more automatic and harder to stop over time. And yet, your mind keeps trying, keeps spinning, keeps searching for the answer that will finally make it all make sense. The answer that will undo the shock, reverse the loss, fix what broke. But that answer doesn't exist. And somewhere, deep down, you know that, which is why the thoughts feel so desperate, so urgent, so exhausting. Fact 4. Anxiety researchers found that racing thoughts at night are often the mind's way of avoiding deeper emotional pain. Thinking feels more controllable than feeling. Your mind is doing what minds do, trying to think its way out of a feeling, trying to solve its way out of shock. But shock doesn't live in your thoughts. It lives in your body, in your nervous system, in those places words see. And reach. Fact 5. Brain imaging studies show that emotional shock is processed primarily in subcortical regions, limbic system, which are not directly accessible through conscious thought alone. That's why, no matter how much you analyze, how much you understand, how much you know you should be over it, the racing thoughts keep coming back. Because understanding doesn't equal release, knowing doesn't equal healing. Fact 6. Cognitive behavioral therapy research acknowledges that insight alone resolves only 30 to 40% of trauma symptoms. The body must also be engaged in the healing process. Your body needs something different, something your mind can't give it. It needs to feel safe enough to stop watching, to stop analyzing, to stop protecting. And that's what we're doing tonight. We're not trying to stop the thoughts. We're addressing what's underneath them. Fact 7. Mindfulness-based therapies work not by stopping thoughts, but by changing the relationship to them, reducing their emotional charge by 50 to 70% over time. The fear, The shock, the nervous system, that won't settle. Hook 71. When that settles, the thoughts will not do. Rally, slow down. Fact 8. Research in contemplative neuroscience shows that when the amygdala calms, the prefrontal cortex naturally becomes less hyperactive, reducing rumination. So right now, instead of fighting the thoughts, just notice them, like clouds passing. They're there, but you're not in them, you're underneath them, in the stillness. And in that stillness, beneath the noise, your body is beginning to understand. I don't have to solve anything right now. I can just be. Fact 9. Studies on thought suppression show that trying to stop thoughts makes them stronger, while accepting their presence without engagement reduces their frequency by 40%. The racing will slow, not because you forced it, but because your body finally feels safe enough to rest. Fact 10. Sleep medicine research confirms that when physiological arousal decreases through body-based calming, cognitive arousal, racing thought, decreases automatically. Chapter 5. The freeze that feels like safety. Here's something nobody talks about. Sometimes, shock doesn't make you panic. Fact 1. The freeze response is the third trauma response, after fight and flight, involving dorsal vagal shutdown, a primitive survival mechanism seen across all mammals. Sometimes, it makes you freeze, go numb, disappear inside yourself. And the strangest part? The freeze can feel safe, safer than feeling, safer than moving, safer than being fully alive. Fact 2. Neurobiologist Dr. Stephen Porges explains that freeze is an adaptive response when fight and flight are impossible. The body plays dead to survive overwhelming threat. Maybe you know this feeling, that sense of watching your life from behind glass, being there but not really there. Going through the motions, but not quite feeling anything, present but somehow absent. Fact 3. Dissociation, the psychological term for freeze, can persist years after trauma ends, creating a habitual state of disconnection from body sensations and emotions. This is what unresolved shock can do. It can leave you frozen in the moment the shock happened. While the rest of your life moves forward, part of you stays back there, stuck, immobilized, waiting. Fact 4. Brain imaging shows that people with freeze responses have reduced activity in the insula, the brain region for body awareness, literally decreasing felt sense of being in their body. Waiting for it to be safe enough, to thaw, to feel again, to come back. But safe enough never seems to arrive. Because here's the paradox, the freeze that once protected you is now the prison. Hook 84, the numbness that helped you survive, is now what keeps you FR. I'm living. Fact 5. Trauma therapist Peter Levine discovered that frozen trauma responses must be thawed gradually, as rapid defrosting can overwhelm the nervous system. And at night, when you lie down, You might notice you don't feel much of anything. Not anxiety, not peace, just nothing. An emptiness, a flatness, a sense of being disconnected from your own body. Fact 6. Sleep studies show that people in freeze states often report feeling dead inside at night, unable to access calming sensations that facilitate natural sleep onset. Maybe you thought this meant you were healing, that not feeling was better than feeling bad. But numbness isn't peace, freeze isn't rest. It's suspension, it's waiting, it's your body still holding its breath from a shock it hasn't. Fully released. Fact 7. Somatic experiencing research shows that frozen trauma holds tremendous energy, the interrupted fight or flight response that never completed. Tonight, we're going to do something gentle. We're going to invite just a little movement back in. Not forced, not fast, just subtle, safe, small. Because your body needs to know that it can move again without danger. That thawing doesn't mean chaos. Fact 8. Studies demonstrate that micro-movements, tiny, almost imperceptible movements, can safely discharge freeze without triggering overwhelm. Maybe just wiggling your toes, or feeling your breath move your belly, or noticing your fingers. Small signs of life returning. And as feeling returns, your body might feel scared, because feeling meant pain once. Fact 9. Research on interoception shows that trauma survivors often fear positive sensations as much as negative ones, having learned that feeling good can be followed by shock. But we're going to go slow. So slow that your body knows it can stop anytime. It can freeze again if it needs to. But maybe, just maybe, it doesn't need to anymore. Fact 10. Gradual re-engagement with body sensations, done with full autonomy and control, can restore healthy nervous S. System regulation over time. Chapter 6. What your body holds that your mind forgot. Here's the thing about shock. Sometimes you don't even remember the moment it happened. Fact 1. Implicit memory, body memory, can store trauma without explicit recall. You can feel the effects of shock without consciously remembering the event. Maybe you were too young. Maybe it was too overwhelming. Maybe your mind protected you by forgetting. But your body didn't forget. It remembers, in the way you flinch at certain sounds, in the relationships you can't quite trust, in the dreams you can't explain. Fact 2. The amygdala can store emotional memories without hippocampal involvement. Conscious memory, creating feelings without context that persist for decades. Your body is a library of every moment you've lived, every shock you've absorbed, every wound you've carried. And some of those books were written before you had words, before you could understand, before you could prose. SS. Fact 3. Developmental trauma research shows that shock experienced before age 3 is stored entirely somatically, as the verbal memory systems aren't yet developed. That's why healing can feel so confusing, because you're trying to fix something you can't quite name, can't quite remember, can't quite locate. You just know something isn't right, something is stuck, something needs to shift. Fact 4. Somatic therapists estimate that 60 to 70% of body-held trauma has no corresponding conscious memory, explaining why talk therapy alone often feels incomplete. And at night, this nameless weight becomes impossible to ignore. Your body whispers what your mind never knew. Something happened, something we haven't knew. Go of. Fact 5. Studies on procedural memory show that the body can respond to trauma cues decades later, even when the person has no cognitive awareness of the original event. But here's the relief. You don't need to remember to release. You don't need to know the story to let go of the sensation. Fact 6. Neuroscientist Candace Pert's research on molecules of emotion showed that cellular memory can be released through body awareness alone, without cognitive processing. Your body can heal without your mind understanding. Your nervous system can reset without your memory filling in the blanks. Because healing isn't about recovering the past, it's about releasing the present. Fact 7. Current trauma therapy protocols prioritize bottom-up processing, body to mind, over top-down, mind to body, as the body often holds the key to release. It's about teaching your body. Whatever happened, it's not happening now. We can let it go. So tonight, we're not searching for memories. We're not digging up the past. We're not trying to figure anything out. We're simply being with your body in this moment and giving it permission to release what it's ready to release. Fact 8. Research in body-centered psychotherapy shows that when given safe conditions, the body naturally releases stored trauma in its own timing and sequence. No force, no agenda, no timeline. Just presence and permission and trust. Trust that your body knows what it's holding, and your body knows when it's safe to let go. Fact 9. Studies on therapeutic presence show that non-judgmental awareness alone can reduce trauma symptoms by 35%. Without any active intervention. And as you lie here, breathing, feeling the support beneath you, your body is making a choice. A choice to finally release. Fact 10. The parasympathetic nervous system, when activated through safety signals, initiates natural discharge of stored stress hormone. One's an emotional charge. Chapter 7. The permission you never gave yourself. What if the reason you can't let go isn't because you can't, but because you haven't given yourself permission? Fact 1. Psychologist Kristen Neff's research on self-compassion shows that permission to release pain is often the missing component in healing. We hold pain as penance. Permission to stop carrying what happened. Permission to rest from the exhaustion of holding on. Permission to heal without guilt, without betraying the past, without pretending it didn't matter. Fact 2. Studies show that 78% of trauma survivors report feeling they should keep suffering as proof of loyalty, love, or that the event mattered. Maybe you feel like, if you let go of the shock, you're letting go of the person, the dream, the version of yourself that existed before. Maybe holding the pain feels like the only way to honor what was L. Boast. Fact 3. Complicated grief research demonstrates that holding on to pain doesn't preserve memory or love, it only preserves suffering. But here's the truth nobody tells you: you can remember without suffering. You can honor what happened without letting it destroy your sleep, without letting it steal your peace. Fact 4. Memory consolidation studies show that emotional charge can be separated from factual memory. You can remember events without re-experiencing trauma. Letting go of the shock doesn't mean you're saying it didn't matter. It means you're saying your life matters too. Your rest matters. Your peace matters. Your ability to be present now matters. Fact 5. Research in meaning-making after trauma shows that resolution comes not from forgetting but from integrating the past as part of, not the entirety of, one's identity. So tonight, I want to ask you, will you give yourself permission? Permission to release what your body has been holding, not because it wasn't real, but because you deserve to rest. Fact 6. Self-authorization, explicitly giving oneself permission, activates the prefrontal cortex's regulatory control, helping override limbic system resistance to change. Say it with me, even just in your mind. I give myself permission to let this go. I give myself permission to heal without guilt, without shame, with out conditions. Fact 7. Studies on affirmation effectiveness show that permission-based statements are 2.5x more effective than command-based statements for trauma release. Feel how those words land in your body. Notice if something shifts even slightly. Maybe there's resistance. Maybe part of you says not yet, and that's okay too. Fact 8. Internal family systems therapy recognizes that parts of us may resist healing to maintain protection. All resistance is honored as wisdom, not obstruction. But maybe, just maybe, another part of you, a tired part, a ready part, whispers, yes, please, finally. That part, the part that's ready, that's the part we are. He's speaking to tonight. Fact 9. Neuroscience shows that when even a small part of the psyche commits to healing, it creates neural pathway activation that can gradually bring other parts along. And to that ready part, we say, you have permission. Your suffering has gone on long enough. You can rest now. Not because the past doesn't matter, but because the present does. Fact 10. Research on post-traumatic growth shows that 60 to 70% of trauma survivors report greater meaning and presence in life after releasing chronic pain patterns. Because you matter, and your peace is not a betrayal. It's survival. It's Evo. revolution, it's healing. Chapter 8, the body scan of release. Let's take a journey now through your body, not to find what's wrong, but to release what's ready. Fact 1. Body scan meditation, studied extensively in MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction, reduces trauma symptoms by 43% when practiced consistently over 8 weeks. Starting with your feet, notice them without judgment, without trying to change anything. Just awareness, just presence, just being with what is. Fact 2. Progressive body awareness activates the parasympathetic nervous system sequentially, creating cascading relaxation from extremities toward the core. If there's tension in your feet, imagine it like dark water draining down into the earth below you, being absorbed, being transmuted. Your feet that have carried you through everything can release now. They don't have to hold you up anymore to nag. HT. Fact 3. Research shows that visualizing tension as a substance leaving the body creates measurable decreases in muscle tension and stress hormone levels. Moving up to your legs, your calves, your knees, your thighs. These muscles that have been ready to run, ready to flee, can soften now. Fact 4. Leg muscles hold trauma-related escape energy, the evolutionary impulse to flee that often goes uncompleted, leaving chronic tension. There's nowhere you need to go, nothing you need to escape from. You can let them rest. Heavy, so heavy, sinking down into the surface bene. ADHU. Your hips, your pelvis, this place of power and vulnerability and stored emotion. Fact 5. The psoas muscle, which runs to the pelvis, is called the muscle of the soul by body workers. It stores decades of unprocessed fear and shock. Whatever shock is held here, it can begin to dissolve, like ice in the sun, slowly, safely. No rush, no pressure, just gradual, gentle. Thawing. Fact 6. Studies in bioenergetics therapy show that hip and pelvic release often precipitates emotional release, as survival fear is stored in this region. Your belly, your stomach, this soft, vulnerable place where you first felt the shock, the drop, the punch. Place your awareness there with kindness, with compassion, as you would with a frightened child. Fact 7. The enteric nervous system, gut brain, contains 500 million neurons and independently processes emotional experience, creating gut feelings that store trauma. I see you. I know you're there. You did your best to protect me, but you can soften now. You can let go. Feel your breath, gently, moving your belly, each exhale, releasing, releasing. Chi, releasing. Fact 8. Diaphragmatic breathing directly massages abdominal organs and fascia, mechanically releasing stored tension and emotional charge. Your chest, your heart, we've spoken to this place before, and we speak to it again. Thank you for holding so much, for feeling so deeply, for surviving what tried to break you. Fact 9. Heart rate variability biofeedback has been shown to resolve trauma symptoms by teaching the heart's rhythm to stabilize through focused awareness. You can release now the weight you've carried, the shock you've absorbed. You can let it dis. Evolve into light. Fact 10. Studies show that when attention is placed on the heart with gratitude, the heart's electromagnetic field becomes more coherent, influencing whole body calm. Your shoulders, your arms, your hands can finally stop holding on, stop bracing, stop clenching. Just release, let F. Everything drop away. Chapter 9. The dissolving. Something is happening now. Can you feel it? A subtle shift, a gentle loosening. Fact 1. Neuroscientific research shows that sustained body awareness creates measurable changes in brainwave patterns, shifting from beta, alert, to theta, deep relaxation. The shock that has lived in your body for so long is beginning to dissolve. Not because you forced it, not because you earned it, but because you finally feel safe enough to let it go. Fact 2. Trauma resolution happens in the window of tolerance, that perfect balance between two activated and two shut down, which we've been cultivating. Like salt dissolving in water, you can't see it happening, but gradually it becomes less solid, more dispersed, until finally it's not gone, but it's transformed, integrated, no longer a shock, just a memory, just a part of your ST. Ori. Fact 3. Memory reconsolidation research shows that traumatic memories, when recalled in safe contexts, can be overwritten with new safety information at the neurological level. Your body's rewriting the story now, not the facts, but the feeling. The feeling that said danger is becoming. That was then. Fact 4. The amygdala can be retrained through repeated safe experiences, literally shrinking its reactivity to former triggers by up to 30%. The feeling that said never safe is becoming safe enough now. And with each breath, each moment of rest, the new store. Why deepens? Fact 5. Neuroplasticity studies confirm that new neural pathways strengthen with repetition. Tonight is not a cure, but a practice that accumulates healing over time. You might feel strange sensations, tingling, warmth, coolness, heaviness, lightness. These are good signs. They're your nervous system discharging, releasing, resetting. Fact 6. Somatic therapists call these healing vortexes spontaneous body sensations that indicate trauma discharge and nervous system regulation. Don't be afraid. Let them move through you like waves, like energy, like something held too long, finally flowing free. Your body knows what to do. It's been waiting for this permission, this safety. This moment. Fact 7. Studies show that even single sessions of trauma release can create lasting changes if the body feels safe enough. Safety is the key variable, not duration. And if you're drifting now, between waking and sleeping, that's perfect. That's exactly where healing happens. In that liminal space, where conscious control releases, where the body takes over, where wisdom deeper than thought guides the way. Fact 8. The hypnagogic state, between waking and sleeping, shows unique brainwave patterns that facilitate memory processing and emotional integration. Let yourself drift. There's nowhere to be, nothing to do, no one to become. Just this moment, this breath, this disso. Living this release. Fact 9. Sleep onset is the natural conclusion of successful nervous system downregulation. If you're falling asleep now, your body feels safe. The shock is leaving, particle by particle, cell by cell, breath by breath. And in its place, something new, peace, wholeness, the you that existed before, coming home. Fact 10. Post-traumatic growth research documents that after trauma resolution, many people report feeling more authentically themselves then. Before the trauma occurred.
Chapter 10. The new neural pathway. Your brain is changing right now, in this very moment, creating new pathways, new possibilities. Fact 1. London taxi driver studies proved adult neuroplasticity. The brain physically changes structure throughout life based on repeated experiences and attention. Where there was a pathway of shock, there is now a pathway of safety. Hook 174. Where there was a pattern of panic, there is now a pattern of peace. Fact 2. fMRI studies show that trauma therapy creates visible changes in brain activation patterns, with the amygdala becoming less reactive after successful treatment. This isn't wishful thinking. This is neuroscience. This is how healing works, layer by layer, moment by moment. Every time you listen, every time you rest like this, the new pathway strengthens. habit formation research shows it takes 21 to 66 days of repetition to create a new automatic response. Healing is practice, not perfection. And the old pathway, the one of hypervigilance, of racing thoughts, of sleepless nights, it doesn't disappear immediately, but it fades like a path in the forest that no one walks anymore. Fact 4. Synaptic pruning research shows that unused neural pathways literally weaken and dissolve over time through a process called neuronal apoptosis. Grass grows over it, nature reclaims it, until one day you realize you can't even remember which way it went. The shock that defined you becomes just something that happened once a long time ago. Fact 5. Longitudinal studies on trauma recovery show that many survivors reach a point where they can recall events without physiological reactivity, true integration. Tonight you're planting seeds of a new way of being, a new relationship with your body, with rest, with safety. And these seeds will grow even while you sleep, even when you're not thinking about it. Fact 6. Sleep itself consolidates new learning. The brain literally replays and strengthens new neural patterns during REM and deep sleep stages. Because healing isn't something you do, it's something you allow. It's something your body does when it finally feels safe enough. And tonight, you've created that safety. You've opened that door. You've given that PE. Permission. Fact 7. Research on therapeutic alliance shows that feeling safe with oneself is as important as feeling safe with a therapist. Self-compassion predicts healing outcomes. Tomorrow when you wake, you might not remember this journey. You might not feel dramatically different. But something will have shifted. Something subtle, something cellular, something true. Fact 8. Studies show healing often happens in increments too small to notice daily, but over weeks creates profound transformation. Trust the process. You might sleep a little deeper, wake a little calmer, breathe a little easier. Or maybe you'll just know that something inside has changed. Fact 9. Interoceptive awareness research shows that subtle body changes often register subconsciously before conscious awareness. Trust your felt sense. The shock is releasing. The pattern is breaking. The new way is forming. And you, beautiful you, are healing one moment, one breath, one night at a time. Fact 10. Resilience research confirms that recovery isn't linear. There will be setbacks, but overall trajectory moves toward regulation with consistent practice. Chapter 11. Letting the night hold you. The night is not your enemy. It's been waiting to hold you, to heal you, to help you rest. Fact 1. Chronobiology research shows that nighttime activates parasympathetic dominance naturally. Our bodies are designed to heal during dark hours. For so long, you feared the night because that's when the shock would visit. But tonight, the night is different because you're different, because you've done the work of release. Fact 2. Studies on sleep hygiene show that reconditioning the association between nighttime and safety can resolve chronic insomnia in 70% of cases. The darkness isn't a threat, it's a blanket, soft, protective, inviting you into rest. The silence isn't dangerous. It's peaceful, spacious, allowing your nervous system to finally set. Fact 3. Acoustic research confirms that true silence, not absence of sound, but absence of threat sounds, triggers deep relaxation responses in the brainstem. Let the night hold you like a mother holds a child, with nothing required, nothing expected, just held. You don't have to watch, you don't have to listen, you don't have to protect. Fact 4. Attachment research shows that feeling held, even metaphorically, activates oxytocin release and vagal tone improvement. The night is doing that for you. The darkness is holding you, and you can surrender into it. Every night from now on can be like this. Not perfect, not without moments of struggle, but fundamentally. Different. Fact 5. Sleep research shows that even one night of safe, restful sleep can reset stress hormone cycles and improve emotional regulation for days afterward. Because you've taught your body that night time isn't danger time, it's healing time, it's rest time, it's yours. The shock doesn't own your nights anymore. You do. Fact 6. Cognitive processing therapy for insomnia shows that reclaiming ownership of sleep, seeing it as a right, not a privilege, improves outcomes by 50%. And tonight is the beginning of a new relationship with darkness, with rest, with yourself. A relationship built on trust, on safety, on the deep knowing that you've survived, and you'd earth to rest. Fact 7. Meaning-making research shows that reframing survival as deserving rest, rather than perpetual vigilance, creates sustainable healing. So let the night hold you, let it wrap around you, let it carry you, into the deep rest your body has been craving. You are safe, you are held, you are healing. Fact 8. Repeated affirmations of safety during relaxed states create implicit memory reconsolidation. Your body learns safety at the cellular level. And tomorrow is waiting with new possibilities, but tomorrow can wait. Right now, there's only this night, this. Rest, this release. Fact 9. Presence-focused practices show that releasing future worry and past rumination creates the optimal state for nervous system restoration. The shock is gone, the weight is lifting, and you are free to rest, finally, deeply, completely. Fact 10. Freedom from trauma isn't the absence of memory, it's the presence of peace despite memory. You're see. Cultivating that peace now. Chapter 12. The closing deep rest. We're coming to the end of this journey together, but your healing continues long after my voice fades. Fact 1. The therapeutic afterglow. Continued processing after a session can last 24 to 72 hours as the brain integrates new patterns. Everything we've done tonight has created ripples that will spread through your nervous system, through your sleep, through your life. You may not remember the words, but your body remembers the feeling of safety, the feeling of release. Fact 2. Implicit memory, non-conscious, is more powerful than explicit memory for trauma healing. Your body holds the healing even if your mind forgets. And that feeling will be there tomorrow night, and the night after, a path back to peace, whenever you need it. The shock that brought you here has served its purpose. It protected you when you needed protection. Fact 3. Gratitude for trauma responses without glorifying trauma helps complete the trauma cycle. Acknowledging survival mechanisms facilitates release. But now its work is done, and it can dissolve, transform, become part of your history, not your present. You are not your shock. You are not your trauma. You are the one who survived it, who's healing from it, who's releasing it. Fact 4. Narrative identity research shows that moving from trauma I asked me to trauma happened to me is the key cognitive shift in recovery. And tonight, you've taken a step, a brave step, a necessary successful builds capacity. There are no wasted efforts in nervous system regulation. If you're still awake, that's okay. Healing doesn't require sleep. It requires presence. And you've been present, beautifully present. And if you're drifting, falling into dreams, let yourself go. There's nothing left to hold on to, nothing left to carry. Fact 6. The transition to sleep is often gradual and unnoticed. Many people fall asleep without realizing the moment it happens. Your body knows what it needs, and right now, it needs rest, deep rest, the kind that heals, the kind that restores. And you have permission, full permission, to take that rest, to sink into it, to surrender to it. Fact 7. Sleep efficiency improves when we release the pressure to make sleep happen. Paradoxically, trying less helps more. Tomorrow will come with its own challenges, but tomorrow is not here. Right now, there's only this breath, this moment, this peace. The racing thoughts will slow, the hypervigilance will ease, the shock will continue to dissolve even as you sleep. Fact 8. REM sleep naturally processes emotional experiences. Your brain will continue the healing work tonight while you rest. You've done enough. You've worked hard enough. You've survived enough. Now, you can rest. Rest without guilt. Rest without condition. Rest because you're human. And humans need rest. And you deserve it. Fact 9. Self-compassion research shows that believing you deserve rest is more powerful for healing than any technique. Worthiness is foundational. I'm going to leave you now in this quiet, in this safety, in this peace. But before I go, I want you to know you're not alone. Others have walked this path. Others have healed. And you will too. Fact 10. Community and universality. Knowing others have healed activates hope, which neuroscience shows is a genuine healing agent in the brain. The shock doesn't have the final word. You do. And your word is, I am healing. I am resting. I am free. Let those words settle into your bones, into your cells, into the deepest parts of you. I am healing. I am resting. I am free. left to do, nowhere left to go. Just this stillness, this rest, this release. You're safe.